Good vibrations, my heart is racing, beats too fast to catch it. Yes, I'm feeling big, something kinda epic. High definition, see a perfect picture. Just recline your seat back and watch me blow it up. You can be the critic, just let me know you're with it. Thumb down, thumb up, evil roll with it. Action cut, keep my lines in order. Play a part, best actor for this Oscar. Emmy, I know you see it in me. Greatness for
sleep, but besides no sleep, you know, I can't even feel how you before what it was like. Yeah. Because all I do is stare at them all day. I take pictures on, like, I can't take pictures on my phone anymore. They locked me out. I need to get more storage. I have over 700 pictures in 6 days.
In 6 days?
6 days. I got every moment from waking up, first time changing them, first time it was a doctor's appointment. I got everything.
Oh.
It'll be that day.
You're going to be that day. I think. Okay, so how did you go about actually creating your own business? Because, like I said, you have LITM.
Yes.
So how did you go from, being this 9-year-old, having these schemes, and, starting your own business, starting your own business at that age to now, being a full-grown man, and now doing all types of things?
Basically, it's because I was miserable, and I didn't realize it. I wasn't doing what made me happy. I went to college. I came out and I got a job. I went the stereotypical route of what they say makes you successful. And I noticed that my mother, who's I'm extremely close with, she was telling me, like, you're not yourself, you're not happy, what's going on? I couldn't put my finger on it. And, I kind of was scared to jump out the window and go after what I wanted because, to be quite honest, like, some people closest to me, when you step out and do what you want to do, they have a set mindset. People are fearful of themselves, so they're going to tell you can't do it. So I had friends tell me, so you went to college to be a party promoter? I was like, I'm not a party promoter. That's like literally the least on my list. And I was afraid to do it. So when I finally decided that it's either be happy while now I can take this shot while I'm young, or I'm going to regret it when I get older, and I'm going to be like some of the people that I've seen where they regret not taking that shot. They regret saying, when I was younger, what's your passion? So I used to sing, or I could dance. Well, why didn't you go after it? Nah, it just wasn't one of those things. I just started working, I had kids. I didn't want to be that. So I just jumped out. And, with the support of family and friends, every little win, I made it a big win to myself.
But you've also been kind of making a transition, or I guess not even a transition, you've been expanding your reach into politics. Not necessarily you become a politician, but you have definitely become more active in politics. So kind of give us some insight into what are the things that you've been doing and why you decided to kind of take that step.
Well, basically, I figured that if I could get somebody to come out to enjoy themselves, I felt I had a responsibility as I got older. You mature, I have a responsibility in my community. That if I can get us together, have a good time, we can share a drink, we can share a story, we need to start sharing some things that are going to benefit each other. And right now, politics is something that we just kind of all seem to not be involved in. So, I started doing my research, I started looking at some politicians that fall in line, and I said, you can't make a change until you actually get someone in there and then hold them accountable. So I just started doing different events around the city where I'm not getting behind one person, one politician. I just want them in a room around us, because normally they don't come to us. They go everywhere else to get a vote. But, it's a group of people that they don't even speak to that we will vote. And they say we don't vote is exactly because we don't know who you are. So we don't watch the news the way, other voters do. We don't respond to ads. You got to get right in front of us. So I create a platform to get them in front of us and let us decide on who we want to pick. And I just want us to do it as a unison, as a group, and then hold them accountable. And just see what happens. I tell you, every time I see you, I respect and I love what you're doing. I really appreciate the fact that I know it's great because we got to support our women too, but you evenly do it across the board. Like you're pointing out good men, you're pointing out good women, and eventually that's going to show us how to treat each other, even though, it just shows that we can treat each other well. Yeah. And I appreciate you, seriously.
No, I appreciate that. I think it's important. I'm all for women empowerment, but one thing that's always been important to me is that being for women empowerment doesn't mean being against men, and I feel like the only way this world can become better is if we're working together, to empower each other. So I really
appreciate it. Jump out there, and you've been the person leading, and I enjoy watching it.
Thank you. Don't make me cry, man. We both
And I took a bunch of students to London in 2010. And when I took the students to London in 2010, I didn't want them to go to London and experience the city in terms of a tourist. you know, anybody can go to London and they'll see Big Ben, they'll see, they'll get in front of one of those red telephone booths and they'll climb in and they'll get their pictures taken and they'll do all the good tourist stuff. But they won't actually learn about real-life British culture. And so what we did when we went to London was we built the whole program around music. And so every day we went and we met with musicians, with DJs, with producers, promoters, artists, venue operators. We went to clubs and discos, and we had a great time.
I love that place.
Oh, it was the greatest 6 weeks of my life. We went over there for 6 weeks. It was fabulous. And so we made a magazine in London. I brought the magazine from London back to Philly, and I was showing people, and everybody was like, wow, this is great, but I'm not going to London. I wish we had something like this for Philly. And I was like, yeah, we should have something like this for Philly. Okay. And so about 6 months later, we had the first issue on the street, March of 2011.
You have done and seen a lot over the course of your career. And one thing is definitely, you've seen the shift from print and, you know, having the tangible news to now everything really going online. So what is your perspective on that transition and what it means for where we're headed?
Wait, how many of you guys, do you guys still read newspapers or magazines?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's great.
See, there are people who still get newspapers and magazines. I think like the idea of newspapers dying, well, some newspapers are dying, but I think, you know, if you can recognize that there are people who want information and then figure out how do you get that information to them, everything's going to last. Print's not going to go away, newspapers aren't going to go away, magazines aren't going to go away, television's not going to go away just because now we can get television and video on the internet. The reality is it's all going to coexist. And so it's just recognizing, well, what's your capacity? So with Jump Magazine, we print 10,000 copies every issue. Wow. And I think that's about our limit. You know, if we printed 25,000 copies, that would be too many. But I think there are a good 10,000 people in Philadelphia who are interested in the content that we provide. There's amazing stuff that's already happening here. And it's actually getting bigger and bigger, like almost every day. There's a new venue that's being announced on Delaware Avenue tomorrow morning. There are all these things that are happening all around town. And, you know, we do about 30 stories in every issue. And everybody always says, you know, aren't you gonna run out of stories in Philadelphia? And the reality is, like, every day we keep running into new, young, talented people doing interesting and unusual things. And so, you know, we're using music to talk about them and their art. We're using music to talk about them and education. In every issue that we do, we have stories about music and politics. And so with this last issue that just came out, I interviewed State Representative Jordan Harris because he does a summer festival every year. Last year he had Kindred the Family Soul, Jasmine Sullivan, Suzanne Christine. All these folks come out to South Philly to do a big concert out there. And on one hand, it's like this big feel-good event where all these people get to see music for free, but also he uses that event to teach people about city government and all of the things that are available to people. And so I think he's using music as a vehicle to get across the power of government and the potential impact that they have, just like we're using music to talk about all the amazing people doing cool stuff in the city.
Chill, you usually, or I've seen the post, there's this phrase, nobody cares, work harder, that you always put up. And when it comes to both of you, I've seen you both work hard consistently. And I just have to ask, why is it that statement, or I guess it's more so a lifestyle for you both, why is that statement so important? Like, what does that mean to you?
I mean, one of my OGs once told me, not once, he always tells me, the main thing is don't get excited. So wherever you're at, I took that as, wherever you're at, there's always another step. I mean, don't grow content. Excitement breeds incitement breeds contentment. You can't grow content with what you're doing. We're having this interview right now. We could be on, Chill Moody Network right now, or this could be my restaurant at this point. So there's always like another step. So as long as you always know that there's another step, live in the moment, appreciate whatever. Shout out to Tyler, live in the moment. Appreciate whatever you have then, but always know that there's the next step and don't get excited. So you don't brag about whatever you got, because at the end of the day, nobody cares. Work harder. Like, prove something to me, and once you do it, prove something else to me. Like, my man Black told me once, and I put it in a rap, I said I could walk on water and they still would hate, like his socks got wet. Like, there's always something else, and they always gonna, feel some type of way about whatever you're doing. So nobody cares. Work harder. Just keep going.
Into you being an educator and dealing with 8th graders.
All day.
Tell us what 8th grade Philly students are like right now.
I mean, you got the good and bad.
At least the ones that you work with. I mean, you can't speak for all.
I mean, because I've been teaching for a minute. I mean, I started teaching straight out of college, so you know, I was
30 years ago.
Yeah, right.
No.
And we talk about education, you bring that. No, but I just started rather young. So even when I was young, at 23, I was teaching 11th grade, like straight off the bat. So I started teaching older kids, and even through that time, like I've seen certain things shift. I've seen the mindset sort of change in a lot of students. I mean, I've had some great students over the years. Obviously, I'm still doing this, so there's some parts about it I like. Just to see the end result. Like actually, one of my old students is here, Diane, over there.
Oh, shout out to the old student.
So yeah, I actually used to teach Chill Sister too.
Oh wow,
which was crazy. So,
so you're breeding greatness. Thank you.
Yeah, so to see people, you know, kids like that, you had in 8th grade actually doing something positive and like kind of you playing that seed for the most part. I see a lot of my old students around just, and you know, they always come up to me, remember me about certain things. But you also see the negative, and it's kind of like trying to correct that behavior because a lot of things. Unfortunately, with education now, it's kind of like a broken system that's trying to be fixed, especially dealing with black males. And a lot of times it's more about social skills more than academics because there's so many excuses there. They basically loading our kids up on all these type of drugs, diagnosing them at special level when they don't need to be, making up excuses, just passing them along because it's just a messed up system. Teachers can get caught up in things, so a lot of times teachers just don't want to deal with it. So I'm gonna just pass them along, knowing the kid can't read.
I'm not like a censored person. Like I don't believe in music censorship, and I don't think music or any art form should be censored unless the artist chooses to censor that. So that's a conscious decision I made for myself, strictly because of my parents. But you know, if you have any conversation with me regularly, I'm going to curse. I have a terrible mouth.
Well, you're doing great now.
And what's crazy is around my parents, I curse like an adult. Like, you know, it's not a disrespectful thing. It's just, that's just how I talk. But I make sure when they're, you know, putting me out there or I'm on a stage or whatever, I try not to.
And I mean, even when we're seeing a picture of you like at a table or something and you were signing a paper and it looked like it was a big deal, because he's been an unsigned artist up until this point. He's accomplished so much as an unsigned artist.
I'm still independent. I'm still, you know, an independent artist.
Okay.
But I now, as of, what day did I post that picture?
Was it
Monday?
Was it last Monday?
Yeah.
It was
might have been this Monday. As of this week, as of Monday, I'm now officially the owner of nicethingsMUSIC. I have my own digital distribution label. I signed my first deal. And I will be distributing records, not just my own, but I have a label now through iTunes, an exclusive deal. So nicethingsMUSIC is the label. TV Made Me Do It is the first release from there. Look out for bingo stuff coming off of nicethingsMUSIC, and a bunch of other stuff. Not just hip hop, not just R&B, all across the board. Like
this is major.
Yeah.
Like this is.
I'm putting on for the city. I'm making it so. And we spoke about this before when you ask people, when you're interviewing Philly artists, for some reason they always say, do you feel like you gotta leave Philly to make it? You feel like you gotta go to Atlanta, or you gotta go to Miami, you gotta go to LA, you gotta go to New York. They don't ask people in New York that. They don't ask people in Cali that. Do you feel like you gotta leave LA to make it? So they shouldn't ask us that. We're the 5th largest city or something like that, teacher. This is my reference, man. Westopedia. We're gonna start calling you Westopedia.
I like that.
In fact, call it Westopedia. But no, it shouldn't be like that. You shouldn't have to ask somebody from the 5th largest city, do you have to leave to make it? So I'm trying to help build some type of infrastructure so now you don't have to leave the city to make it.